radio, glowing magic transistor radio, glowing magic transistor radio.
Hello YouTube and YouTubettes. Welcome to an album review. I have a very special formula I like to use to make grades, so you'll hear decimals and other weird things. I'm not going to give away my formula, but in this video I would like to review the Flaming Lips album, The Soft Bulletin, released on May 17th, 1999 from the label Warner Brothers. Producers Flaming Lips, David Friedman, and Scott Booker. The studio was Tarbox Road Studios and Cassadaga, or in Cassadaga, New York, or in Cassadaga. Anyway, I think that's where it was. And the band is from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The members include Wayne Coyne, who I believe is the lead singer, Stephen Drozd, and Michael Ivins. All songs are credited as being written by the Flaming Lips. I'm not sure, I believe I had friends that were really into this, and I think that's where I first heard of this album. Shout out to my friend Aaron and Ben, their brothers, and I believe that I was hanging out at their house one time, and they lent me the Flaming Lips Soft Bulletin album, or I heard it. They played it. I can't remember which, but that's where I first heard of this. And of course, I had brothers also that were into this. But I would say that this album has grown on me a bit. It is the one that I hear the most about, so I think it's their most popular. So that's kind of how I got into this. The album cover is a design by George Salisbury. It has nice colors, a black and white photo with computer animation mix. And this is nice, but just shy of being a classic album cover. There's just something, I'm not a big fan of those circles that are computer graphic designed on there, but it is kind of cool and I like the colors. But so I give it a 9 out of 10. Now on to the songs. First track is Race for the Prize, and this gets off with a bang. I love the melody of that synth sound at the beginning, and then it really picks up and it really pulls you in. It's got some nice catchiness, and I love the chorus. The melody line on the chorus is great, and how his voice gets distorted, and lyrically it's really interesting. I give it a 10 in poetry and 10 in production. A lot of 10s and 9s on my scoring, and overall this song gets a 9.6. Track number 2 is called A Spoonful Weighs a Ton, and this one picks up right where the first song, it's just as good as the first song. Has a beautiful melody and great lyrics, great production. After the first verse and chorus, it really picks up and gets more dynamic. But this is a great song once again, a lot of 9s and 10s, and I give this overall a 9.6. Track number 3 is The Spark That Bled. Now this song is artistically just as good as the first two. It is beautiful and it is great. I would say that it's a little less on the catchiness side, and the production, for some reason, I have a 9 instead of a 10. I still love this song. The lyrics are very interesting, and it's got the title, The Softest Bulletin, it's kind of like the title, in the lyric. But yeah, this one, because it's not as catchy, but it's every bit as artistic, the overall score is not as good, but I give it an 8.2. Track number 4 is the Spider Bite song, and this one picks up once again. It's very artistically beautiful. It's not quite as catchy as the first two, but it's still catchier than track 3, and very good overall once again. I love the melody line of this, and it's got interesting lyrics once again, and I give this one a 9.2. Track number 5 is called Buggin', and this is another beautiful song with a great melody. I love the piano introduction coming into each verse, and the harmonies in parts of the verses as well. And then it really picks up to a catchy chorus. Another great song, also has all 9s and 10s, and right up there with most of the other ones. And I give this one a 9.4. Track number 6 is called What is the Light? And I want to read what it says here in the parentheses after the title. An untested hypothesis suggesting that the chemical in our brains by which we are able to experience the sensation of being in love is the same chemical that caused the Big Bang that was the birth of the accelerating universe. Anyway, I don't believe in the Big Bang Theory, but I do believe that it was love, because if God is love, then, that created the universe. But regardless of whether or not I agree with the lyrics, I still think this is a very good song. It's got some very interesting chords and very artistically kind of strange. It's a little less on the catchiness side, so the overall score is not as good, but I still think this is a good song. It just doesn't hold up to the best of the album. And I give this one a 7.8. Track number 7 is called The Observer, and this is just an instrumental. I think this is a nice song. It is very artistic, but very low on the catchiness side, only a 5 in terms of catchiness. It kind of drags along, but it is somewhat interesting. It sort of has a Pink Floyd vibe to it. One of those Pink Floyd songs where it's in no hurry. It just kind of pulls you along nicely, and you kind of have to have your eyes closed and be in the mood. It's not something that you just kind of play in the background and jam to, So you kind of have to be in that musical mood and let it pull you in. But it does do low on the catchiness side, and so overall, this song gets a 7.7. Track number 8 is Waiting for a Superman. And this is a great song once again, and it's all 9s and 10s in the scoring. Very catchy and artistic and greatly produced, great lyrics, and right up there in to the level of the first 2 songs. And this one has some great melody once again, just throughout, awesome melody. And I give this one a 9.6. Track number 9 is Suddenly Everything Has Changed. Now this song has some really awesome moments and some really boring moments. I think that there's a section where there's an instrumentation section, and then there's these awesome harmonies. But a lot of the other stuff is boring. I do love the chorus whenever the title of the song is mentioned, and most of the instrumentations goes to a very minimum, and it's this kind of eerie melody line. So there's some really cool stuff in the song, but there's a lot of boring stuff in the song, and so that brings the score down. I gave it only a 6 in catchiness, and overall I give this one a 7.8. number 10 is The Gash. And musically, this is one of the best songs on the album. It is incredible the way the piano plays and the vocals. It's almost gospel music with some kind of, avant-garde twist to it. It's really interesting. Though I think the lyrics are not as good as some of the other lyrics, that keeps the score down a little bit. Still a great song, and I give this one an 8.8. Track number 11 is called Feeling Yourself Disintegrate, and I really am annoyed by that plop pop pop vocal at the beginning and it goes on throughout, and so I really don't like the way the song begins. I will say that the melody of the verses is nice, it's very pretty, but the chorus, then it doesn't improve from there, and so the hook I have a poor score on, only a 5 on the hook, and the poetry, lyrical poetry is okay. I don't know, it doesn't pull me in very much, and it's the lowest score on the album for me, and I give it a 7.0. Track number 12 is called Sleeping on the Roof, and in parentheses it says excerpt from Should We Keep the Severhead Awake? I'm not sure what that's referring to. If you know, leave it in the comments section. But this is an instrumental, and it has a Pink Floyd vibe once again. And I can't remember which. I think one of the other songs I said also has a Pink Floyd vibe. But it's one of those, it's less on the catchiness side. If you really let the music pull you in, it's great. I really do enjoy this music. But overall, I give this song an 8.0. Track number 13 is another version of Race for the Prize, slight differences of production, and I'm not going to say much more about this except that I prefer the first version. There's some slight differences in the chorus. His voice is not distorted, so just for slight reasons, instead of giving it a 9.6, I'm going to give this version a 9.4. Final track is Waiting for Superman, another mix of track number 8, and I can't remember what it's when I was reviewing this or listening to it, there's a slight difference in the production once again, and I prefer the track number 8, and again it's just slight, so instead of a 9.6, I'm going to give this one a 9.4. The album flow is a 10 out of 10. I think this is definitely a concept album. There's a lot of repeats, not only in full songs, such as Race for the Prize and Waiting for Superman, but some of the themes. It seems like the song Suddenly Everything Has Changed, and when I was listening to that, it sounded like one of the other songs before it as well. So there's some musical themes. And I think the lyrical style is very consistent throughout. So a 10 out of 10 for the album flow. So overall, this is a great album. I don't know if it's my favorite Flaming Lips album. My favorite is probably one that I will do eventually called Zerika. But this one is great. It's probably their most popular album. And it's got nice, catchy songs as well as very artistic throughout. So now I will pull out my handy dandy computer and calculate my formula. And this album gets an 8.78 out of 10. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
It's just too heavy.